Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We're going to talk about Social Security claiming and ways to help benefit your clients and get you in front of new potential clients and prospects using Social Security claiming as an level of expertise that maybe not many of your fellow producers actually have. So our guest speaker today is Dave Pimper. Dave is the president of Lazarus Coaching, and he's going to talk through some of the basics of Social Security claiming, offer some opportunity to increase your knowledge there, and then also to grow your business by meeting people using Social Security digital workshops, Social Security claiming face-to-face, and just in general offering that, whether it be via radio or in your newsletters and things like that. So great way to grow your business, frankly, and we're going to talk about that in depth here shortly. As we get rolling, a couple of things that I wanted to mention to y'all. Number one, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. We'll get them asked and answered as quickly as possible. There will be some polls that pop up. Again, all I ask you there is just give me a yes or no. You're not committing to anything. You're just letting us know a level of interest. And we appreciate your quick response to that so we can kind of keep things moving on. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Steve Murray. I'm the president here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Dave and I have been doing these Tuesday morning webinars together for the past 13, 14 years. We wanted to continue to do that because it is part of our commitment to our producers to help grow their business through education and valuable information they can use with their clients. So Social Security has been a big part of that for probably the last 6 or 7 years, but Dave also assists with practice management, more recently has added radio, seminars regarding 401k or qualified money assistance that you can offer to your clients, and then just general retirement planning seminars as well. So pretty wide range of things that we have talked about over the years on Tuesdays we've offered to our producers. A couple things that I want to make sure that you're all aware of. We've got a good group here today. It's great to see that people are still engaged in their business and trying to find ways to assist their clients in kind of unsettled times that we're in living through here right now. With that in mind, I want to make sure that you're all aware of some things that we do. We've got a couple of ways that we put money in your pocket. One is through your referrals. When you refer people, you kind of see the numbers there. When you refer someone to us, they get appointed with us, we're going to send you a check for $50. No big deal, but we send out checks for literally thousands of dollars to producers in appreciation for those referrals, because when your referral does business, we send you a bonus based on that, and it's ongoing for as long as they're doing business with us. So great little program. Marketing reimbursement, nice program. Whenever you do business with IAMS, we put money in your marketing reimbursement account. And then when you spend money to grow your business, you send us an invoice, and then we send you back a dollar for dollar match. So we like to double your money, as I say, double the money that you can spend on marketing. We feel that's a great and important part of helping you grow your business, is to be out in front of people now, probably more than ever. It's just now the mediums have changed. How you're going to get out in front of clients have changed a bit, but it's still very important, maybe more important than ever, to be out in front of your clients. So we have a great new producer program. I'm looking at our list here. I see there are probably 17, 20 of you here with us this morning that maybe have not, and I apologize, some of you may have, and I just am not yet aware of it, but joined IAMS, or maybe very recently joined us. If that's the case, I want you to look at our new producer program and see what we do to help you grow your business. And you see that on the screen there before you. You can claim at various levels. Beyond that, I would say, as you're looking at that screen, if there's something that you're already doing or something that you want to do that has a cash equivalent to that, I would like you to call us and let us know what that would be, and we would be glad to sponsor that. Now, we may be able to give you some insight as, hey, yeah, that's something that can work, or these are the challenges there, that's the opportunity here, things like that. But the main goal of the new producer builders is to put it in a little bit larger than normal amount of money. Frankly, that's from our standpoint, that's probably an overcommitment of dollars as you do it. But we know that when you get started with us and see what we can do to help you, that you're going to keep coming back, and that's how it makes sense for us. How it makes sense for you is to tap in to that new production opportunity and build yourself a whole new pipeline of business if that's what you want to do, whether that's via radio, seminars, Social Security claiming seminars, digital workshops, and you can do that via our new Producer Builders program. If you've got something else that you want to try or already works and you just want us to help you with this, we're open to working with you on any of that. We've got a great back office support. I don't want to dwell on this for a lot of time. Everybody says he has great service. The way that you'll find that to be the case is when you call in here, number one, it'll start with somebody answering the phone for you. You're not going to get a voicemail, and somebody's going to answer your question or make sure that it gets answered in one way or another. So you're not going to have to just put your day on hold while you're waiting for a piece of information that could easily be made available to you. You're going to find us very proactive. We've got a team of folks that's really, really proactive in making sure that your business is handled from the submission to the commission standpoint and in and out the door as quickly as possible. And that, when I say commission, so what they'll do at the end is, once they know it's issued and gets into the paid status, they're going to call up the company and say, okay, when can the agent expect their commission? And they're going to keep you informed of that. Sometimes it's overkill. Sometimes guys say, hey, look, I appreciate it, but that's more information than I need. We'd rather give you more information than less. You let us know how you want the information to come to you. We're gonna err on the side of over information. Most guys and gals that do business with us love that. We got a great single sign-on for Firelight. So what that means, for those of you out there that do e-apps and you go to the carrier's website and you pull up their e-app, what we've done on our website is we have consolidated many of the carriers into the one we call a single sign-on platform for Firelight. So the benefit of that is to you is now you only have to go to one website to go do business on an e-app basis with multiple carriers. The other benefit to you is that it retains that client information in there for a period of time. So if you're going to do another app on a client, using Firelight, all that, you can just do a copy and paste that information over, not signatures, of course, but all the other information. You don't have to go through all of that again, and you'll have that information on your clients, and it just saves you all the time and trouble of having to go in multiple websites. The great thing about e-apps, more and more folks are discovering this, is it's contactless. You can work with your client and just via their email, do that signing ceremony at the end. You can fill out most of the information for them so that they can look at it and verify it and make sure that it's all correct to move on from there. So it really makes that quite easy, and you don't have to worry about, do I have the right forms? Everything is always put together for you, and then just the quickness of getting it submitted. Once you hit send, it's at the carrier right down, and they have it in their hand. And every carrier will tell you that they process e-applications quicker because they know that they're in good order, and they're going to be the kind of, from their standpoint, kind of low-hanging fruit. So take advantage of Firelight. It's a simple process here. All you need to do is call your sales director and say, hey, I want to register for Firelight, and then from then on, you can just go in, look at the system, look at the carrier, look at the product, and off you go. So if you need some help with that, call your sales director. More time than I want to spend on that, because I do like to spend some time on some of these things that we have that can help you grow your business. And having your own advertising department here at IAMS is a big part of that. Many of our producers have discovered it, many have not. And so what that means is that you can call and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing. Do you have something already in place that we can just tap into? Or this is what I'd like you to develop. And we do all that work basically at cost or pro bono. Because our interest is not at all in selling advertising like an advertising firm would be, but rather in growing your business. So we want to make it easy for you to do that and make it inexpensive for you to do that. And frankly, they have done that for many producers just like yourself. So they can walk you away from things that don't work and walk you towards things that do work, and do a great job for you. If it's just a website that you need, that's pretty easy. If you business letterheads, business cards, all that stuff is very easy for us to do. So tap into our advertising department and let them help you grow your business, and you're going to find out that they're going to do it. They're very easy to work with, and they're going to do a great job for you. Got a great website. Again, I'd say call your sales director and say, walk me through your website, and tell them about your business, and then they will tell you the areas that on the website that could be beneficial to you. Retirement Analyzer is a great tool that we make available to our producers at no cost. So if you have not used a tool like this, basically you put information in and then it spits out a very graphic analysis for you or for your client that you can go through with your client of where they are towards meeting their retirement goals. It includes their Social Security, it includes all the information that they're willing to give you. What that helps you with is, because now you know where everything's at, it helps you incorporate everything into one plan, and then it's a way to get back with your client for a review on an annual basis. So for those of you that, for instance, if you're selling annuities or life insurance and you do your annual reviews, your clients really love those, they need some help with it. This is just another piece to that makes you pretty well indispensable to your client. Might your client say, hey, I've got a little business over here with this guy, I've got a little over business over here with this young lady that I've known for years, but you're going to be their go-to person. We make that available to you at no cost. So call Marcus Soller and say, hey, Marcus, give me a sign on. Let me have a look at this. Walk me through it a little bit. Let's show me how I need, maybe do one on yourself or do one on a client that is going to be open to that, and then see how it works. I have a number of producers that are just aghast that other people haven't discovered how valuable this can be in working with their clients and maintaining that relationship and giving them a high level of professionalism and credibility when they're talking to their client. It's great stuff. If you're not taking advantage of it because of the cost, because if you go out into the retirement analyzer and say, hey, do this, that's about $80 a month. We're going to take care of that cost for you. As long as you're using it initially, you don't have to be doing business with us to get access to it. Eventually, we're going to say, hey, you're using it. We'd like to see some of that business because we're paying for you. We're in business to do business as well. But I think you'll find it's a very, very equitable trade-off for sure. We got a great wealth management firm. So if you're unhappy, if you have a Series 65 and you don't like the fees that you're being charged, or maybe you don't think you're getting value for your fees, I'm going to say give our team at IAMS Wealth Management a call. I get great feedback from all of our folks that have done business with them on the value that they get for the fees that they pay. We have to have fees. There's just no doubt that there has to be some fees, but are you getting good value for it? Are you getting your website included in that? Are you getting your E&O covered in that? Are you getting your database covered in that? If you're not, and you're being a charged fee just for somebody to tell you, hey, from a compliance standpoint, we can't take that business, which happens, obviously. But if that's what you're paying a fee for, I know that's frustrating. We've got very reasonable fees and a lot of value back to you that's going to help you in your day-to-day wealth management business. If you're thinking about getting this, which you probably should. Now, I don't know if anybody has been watching the trades, but the DOL is coming back up again. There's going to be a reemergence of that, and that may be a good reason for you to consider getting into the wealth management business. If you're not, we can make that easy for you. We have most of our folks that produce business over there, we have helped them through ordering materials, helping through the studies, helping them pass the test, and helping them get registered. So we can do that for you. We've done it over and over again, and we can make that easy. Maybe you're not happy with maybe you're part of an RIA and you're not happy with your payouts or don't understand why things work the way they do. So our payouts are just a little over 1%. Oops, I'm going to launch this poll real quick. If you have some interest, let the guys know you want to chat with them. But if you're unhappy with the payouts that you receive, so our payouts are just a skosh over 1%, but they don't go through a grid. So you're not going to get 60 or 70 or 80% of the payout. You're going to get 100% of the payout, and it's going to be 1% or a little bit more than 1%. So if that's something that is of interest to you, hit yes on that poll, and Charles or Mike or Sarah or Joan will give you a call, walk you through it, answer any questions that you have, and see if there might be a fit. If you're not thinking of that, you're completely happy with your current RIA, please put no on that, and that's fine. At some point, maybe in the future, we can do business, and we're perfectly fine with that. But if there's a way that you think we might be able to assist you, or even just a question or two you have about what we do there to help you grow your business, just hit yes on that poll and let them chat with you. I put that poll up late, and so I know we're catching up on voting on that. What I would say in general, I'm going to close this out in just a moment, but I would say in general is if you want to chat about that further too, you can also just call your sales director, your life sales director, your annuity sales director, even call in here and ask for the team at IAMS Wealth and let them spend a few minutes with you and tell you what they do and how they do it. I think it'll be 15 minutes or 10 minutes of time well spent for you if you have your current, if you're currently an IAR, or even if you're an RIA and thinking about giving up some of those responsibilities, or if you're neither and just thinking about getting into the wealth management business, want to offer that to your clients, I think that'd be 10 or 15 minutes well spent for you. So I'm going to close that poll out. Thank you all for voting. I apologize for getting that poll up just a little bit late. I want to keep moving along here. So we've been doing academies for about 15 years now, and there's a reason why there's some of the most sought after events in the industry right now, or had been until more recent, the last 8 months, just nobody's doing any traveling, and frankly we can't do academies right now. So until we can get to where travel is a little more acceptable, we are not going to have any academies. That could be yet late this fall. More likely it'll be sometime in 2021. Either way, if you have interest in joining us at an academy, I wish you'd give us a call and get your name on the list. I can't tell you how many times it's come up where we're about a month out from an academy. We've got it all filled up, and a guy says, hey, I wanted to come to one of those. In order to be considered, you have to send us a registration form. We need to know that you're interested in that. And so if you call your sales director up and say, hey, send me an agenda and send me a registration form, look at the agenda, see what we do on an hour-by-hour basis. It's 3 days. We're going to take care of all of your expenses. So if you're driving, we'll take care of your driving expense. If you're flying, we'll take care of your air travel expense. We take care of your hotel, your meals. So all that's part and parcel of the event. We'll take care of that. And it's really 2.5 days, 3 days of time that you're going to spend out of your office that you're going to look back and say, hey, that was the most valuable time I've spent away from my office for a while. It's going to allow you to re-immerse yourself a little bit in the business and sales and marketing part of your business, meet some top producers like yourself among the crowd, also meet 4 top producers that are the centerpiece of our presentation. So really, really good stuff. You're going to enjoy it. If it's something that you have interest in, call your sales director up and tell them to send along a registration form and an agenda. That number, by the way, is 800-255-5055. So we are still planning on having our IAMS Marketing Summit in 2021. Right now, we're headed to Puerto Vallarta, the Secrets Resort there. It's an all-inclusive right on the kind of, if you've been to Puerto Vallarta, maybe you haven't. It's maybe more of a country type feel for Mexico. Puerto Vallarta is certainly an area of a lot of tourism, but it's a little bit more isolated than some of the other areas you might be familiar with. So we like that about Mexico. Or like that about that part of Mexico. We like that particular property. It's very first class. If you've been to a Secrets Resort, they do that very well. It is a all-inclusive resort, so everything there is taken care of. It takes $3.5 million to qualify for that. If you are a larger producer, you can qualify for a tag trip to that, where you can take you and your guest, and both trips, by the way, includes you and your guest, to the Four Seasons Resort at Punta Mita. You can see a little picture of it there. Very exclusive resort, Four Seasons, as they always are. Sits right on the coast. Beautiful area, beautiful time to spend with a guest away. It's another three days or so tacked onto the end of our regular marketing summit. We'll take about 20 to 25 folks there, and we're looking forward to that. If you have any questions, again, give your sales director a call. If you need to know where you're at, we're sending out regular updates. But if you want to know where you're at as of today, please, by all means, give us a call. So here we go. We got Dave Pemper. Dave, have you joined us?
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. I'm sorry that I've babbled on here, and I want to get right to it. I did a little introduction of you, so already at the beginning. So we've got that taken care of. Folks know a little bit about your years of success, the fact that you do both insurance and securities, and the fact that we've been coaching and working with you for about the last 13, 14 years now. So all good stuff. What I didn't mention is Dave has done a little over 525 now public seminars. That's a great number. I don't know that you're going to be hard pressed to find folks that have done more public seminars than Dave. So and he's ongoing doing. He's a coach and a producer, and producer, of course, is where he makes the better part of the money that supports he and his family and his business. So that's the kind of guy that you want to have leading you through a little bit of a seminar minefield, whether it's digital workshops or face-to-face workshops or radio. You want somebody that's in the trenches right now, and that's Dave. So Dave, let's talk a little bit about Social Security claiming, how that can help grow their business, and if we can talk a little bit about radio while we're doing that as well, and maybe a little bit about seminars, that's just as good.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much, Steve. Our business is part of getting in front of people. This whole pandemic, it's thrown a bit of a wrench into things, but I'll tell you right now, we are opening back up. We've already had 2 of the IAMS reps do public seminars. I've got mine slated in for next month. So things are starting to open. You can make masks available. You can do social distancing with chairs. But the economy isn't going to be slowed down and closed down forever. It just isn't going to happen that way. What happens is that of all the subjects, I really do believe that Social Security, it's probably one of the best subjects to go in and to have seminars on. And the reason is because 94% of all Americans do get a Social Security benefit. You'll see from the slides that almost 60% of the people in the U.S. consider Social Security as a main source or a major source of income for them. And it's complicated. 2,700 rules. It's a complicated subject. If you're working the pre-retired and just retired crowd, I will tell you right now, if you don't know Social Security, I ask, why wouldn't you? I mean, it is such an important part of income for the majority. For 2/3 of Americans, it's a major part of their income. So if you don't know, that's where coaching on my part comes into play, as part of the program. The seminars are $2,500. That includes the presentation. That includes 3 coaching sessions of 45 minutes each. That includes free software for 3 months, and then ongoing support with myself. We handle that pretty much for you, A through Z, the workshop itself. So it's a pretty great deal in today's day and time. We've been having really, really good success. And just because things have been closed down, you need to be one of the first ones out there doing your workshop. Both of the last 2 that we've had that have done through IAMS have been both very, very successful. So here we go. I'm not going to go through all the slides. It's an hour presentation. If you go fast, it's 50 minutes. If you go slow, it's probably an hour and 5 or 10 minutes, but it should take about an hour. And I say here, the next best thing of being wise oneself is to live in the circle of those who are. By C.S. Lewis, who's a Christian scholar, he was for his passing. Yeah, and I say tonight, I am the person who are. I am the one that's going to go in and to teach you Social Security claiming. And I will say this too: if you've got questions, absolutely go in and type them up, and we'll answer those for you at the end here. I do go into 2 things, one on the Secure Act and one on the CARES Act. It has nothing really to do with Social Security, but it's brand new, kind of sweeping retirement codes. This one here really had to do, I'm not going to go into the specifics of it, but it's about going in and changing the inherited beneficiary to the 10-year rule. There's also taking it 70.5 on RMDs to 72. Also about having income annuities within. So we have different slides on that, but it's updated information. The second thing is the CARES Act that came out, the Cronus Aid and Relief Economic Securities Act. It's a stimulus package. No RMDs have to be taken, so it's been suspended for 2020. You certainly can if you want to, but people who apply, people who go in and are able to do this with the CARES Act, if they had, it says the below exceptions only apply to savers affected by the Cronus pandemic. That's if your hours are reduced, you're laid off, you're furloughed, no child care, business closure, hours reduced. I mean, almost everyone is in that in some way. But you can withdraw up to $100,000 from a 401k or an IRA before the age of 59.5. There's no penalty, which is pretty nice. 401ks, you get loans. It was 50,000 was the max. Now it's 100,000 as long as your custodian or your trustee allows that. So we want to go through some of the new things that have come out this year. It really isn't specifically about Social Security, but very interesting to people when you go through it. So back on the slides again, questions and concerns. I say, they're here for a reason. You want to know, is Social Security really going broke? We're going to go and address that here in a few minutes. When is the best time for me, not someone else, but for me to apply? How do I get the highest benefit? How much am I going to get? All of those questions are why you're here, or why many of you go in and sign up for a no cost, no obligation consultation at the end of this seminar. And I say, I say something like that probably 8 to 10 times through this hour presentation about when you sign up, or why so many people sign up. I kind of get them in that mode that they're going to sign up. We'll do a little history lesson on Social Security. Was started in 1935 by the Social Security Act. FDR was the president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, on August the 14th of 35. First check was to Ida Mae Fuller for a little over $22 in 1940. Back then there was one date. It wasn't multiple dates or 8 different years you can take, like from 62 to 70. Now it was 65. That was only, the only date that you could take. The average age of longevity in 1935, age 62. That's a heck of a deal. The government pays you at 65, but the average person kicked off at 62. Not the case now, is it? No, the average person lives well into their late 70s, at least. In 61, early retirement age lowered to 62 on a reduced benefit. If you take early, you get it now, but it's reduced. And then a few years later, they went in, and you could go in and extend the benefit out to age even 70 and get more money if you're not taking the benefit right now. Cost of living allowances automatically were imposed in 1975. It's a lot of years ago. There's only been 3 years there hasn't been a cost of living raise with Social Security: 2010, 2011, and 2016. Was Social Security taxed before 1983? No. No taxation. 1983 actually was the last year that Social Security ran a deficit, the trust fund, believe it or not, in 1983. Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the House on the Democratic side, got together, shook hands, which is tough in today's political climate, but they did, and they made a taxation upon Social Security. 50% under a certain bracket, and then Bill Clinton 10 years later in 93, you could pay up to 85% at a certain bracket. The Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015, so 5 years ago, knocked out file and suspend after 6 months. Restricted application in some way and form is still around for some people up to the year January the 2nd of 2024, so about 3.5 more years. How important is Social Security to the average American? Very. 60% nearly of retirees count on the Social Security benefit to be a major source of income for themselves. This is a great slide. I was excited when I saw this by Jana Herron in USA Today. Came out a year ago in July of 2019. Headline: doing this one thing with your Social Security could mean losing $100,000 in retirement. Bullet point 1. This is word for word right from the article. How much does claiming Social Security at the wrong time cost you? Bullet point 2. Retirees will lose an average of $111,000 in income per household over their lifetime. Why? For the simple fact they took Social Security benefits at the wrong time. Bullet point 3. Overall, only 4% of retirees took Social Security at the financially optimal age. Folks, you're this small group of people that want to learn when to maximize your Social Security. And the majority, maybe not all, but the majority will come in and they'll say, Dave, can I have the report on myself? Can we run the 11-page, personalized Social Security report analysis that shows me the exact dates of how to go in and maximize, make the most of my money? Only 4% of all Americans do that, and that's sad. In Social Security Administration, they're not going to run your report. They can't even give you advice. They give you the facts of where to take it right now. So here's Social Security 101. There's 3 ages or dates that are important. The middle date is called full retirement age. So if you're born from 43 to 54, your full retirement age is 66. If you're born 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. So everybody's full retirement age is 66 to 67. You take earlier than FRA, full retirement age, you get the benefit now, which is a positive, but it's reduced, which of course is a negative for the rest of your life. If you take it later than full retirement age, it's increased. You don't get it, but it's increased when you do. And depending on what the best for the person is, there's a lot of information that goes in that Social Security Administration doesn't ask you. They can't ask you personal information. We certainly can. Okay? I always say Social Security can have a huge value. Why can? Because you have to claim at your right time, not somebody else's time, but your right time. Has a lot of value. A $2,000 benefit a month. If it increases 2.8% cost of living, this year it's 1.4. Last year was 2.8. Year before 2% cost of living. In 10 years you got over 300,000 accumulated monies. 20 years, $233,000, and 30 years, $1.1 million. A lot of money. Yeah, I heard my dad, tell me this. You better save now, Dave, because Social Security's not going to be there when you retire. Well, you know what? It's not going broke. Even though you hear all this stuff, and we'll talk about the Social Security Trust Fund now. There's 2.9 approximately trillion T, like makes Warren Buffett look tiny. $2.9 trillion in the trust fund, largest government fund in the world. There was $1 trillion of revenue, and there is $1 trillion of expenses. Okay, basically, There was only three. There was $3 billion of excess last year in the trust fund. Not much. Now, will the trust fund go bankrupt? Yeah, it will. In about the year somewhere between 2031 and 2034. So, we've got, you know, 10, 12, 13 years left before the trust fund goes bankrupt. Now, when the trust fund goes bankrupt and you're getting $2,000 a month, how much would you get if you were getting $2,000 a month from your Social Security and the trust fund goes bankrupt? A lot of people say you'd get nothing, but that isn't right. You would, because there's still money coming in from payroll taxes. It's pretty interesting. Payroll taxes are the 6.2% that you pay, and then your employer pays the 6.2%. That's 12.4. That's 88% of all the money that comes into Social Security. And then what happens is you've got interest on the loans, or which is now IOUs from the government, and then about 4% is from taxation on Social Security benefits. That makes up your 100%. That money still comes in. Now, because of the pandemic, people out of work, may there be a lot more people take Social Security? Might. That might be drawing down Social Security faster. It might be 2031 or 2032 instead of 2035, but time will tell. And there's lots of ways. Basically, the solvency issue is this: to shore up Social Security, which is a political hot potato, my. Nobody wants to mess with it or touch it. But what happens is remember, if you go in with Social Security, you're either going to go and lengthen out like full retirement age, or take 70 and move it either even further out, or you're going to tax more. One or the two. Democrats are usually for more taxation, and the Republicans are probably for upping the age. And I think there'll probably be a mixture of both of those, a compromise. But I always tell my son, he's 28 years old. He's a news editor. Just got a raise, news editor of an Omaha paper. And if I said, Sam, they're going to raise your full retirement age from 67 to 70 this weekend, he'd say, Dad, who cares? Give me another beer. I mean, he could care less. So there's lots of ways to shore up, but the politicians don't want to touch this because it's a very, very, very sensitive subject. So Social Security facts, yeah, it is a pay-as-you-go system, funded majority by payroll taxes. Are those bonds that are purchased, are they still there? No. The government has taken those bonds out and given IOUs. So they take the collateral out and put their own collateral of an IOU to that trust fund. And now, a lot of people say because it's not backed by anything hard like a bond or a stock or gold or silver, that it's worthless. But that's why they think it's a Ponzi scheme. Well, it's not. I mean, that IOU to the government Social Security Administration trust fund is the exact same financial strength of the IOU that backs the dollar bill in your pocket. I mean, when the dollar bill, when I go and gas up my car for $30 and they won't take cash, still good here, I have a little concern about my Social Security then. It's not a Ponzi scheme. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a Ponzi scheme go out 85 years without it falling down. And they've made every payment. And not a Ponzi scheme at all. It's just a very well-run program, which is almost an oxymoron for the government. How do you figure out your Social Security benefit? Well, first of all, you need 4 quarters of coverage. 40 quarters. Each one of those quarters is worth $1,410. So in a year, if you make $5,640, you just earned your 4 quarters. Now, those quarters can be skinny quarters if you don't make much. It can be great, big, huge, fat quarters of credit or coverage if you make a lot of money. So they figure out at what age you're going to start taking your benefit. Earlier you take it, the lesser it is. The longer you wait, the more it is, up to the age of 70. And then they take your highest 35 inflation-adjusted years. Every year gets a COLA if there was a COLA. You're only 3 years or hasn't been. 2010, 11, and 2016. I love that dog. I'm telling you what, I love this picture. And he has a bone tie on. That's another bad Nebraska joke. Full retirement age, FRA. 1943 to 1954. Yeah, your full retirement age is 66. I was born in 55, 66 years and 2 months. If you're born 2 years later, 4 months. 3 years later, 6 months. 4 years later, 8 months. 5 months later, 10 months. Then 1960 years later, your full retirement age is 67 or more. Remember I told you if you take early, so if your full retirement age is 66, you take it 62, it's a 25% discount. If your full retirement age is 70, it's a 70%, it's a 30% discount. How about if you wait? If you wait 1 year after your full retirement age, your benefit's going to grow exactly 8% plus whatever the cost of living is that year. So it was 1.4% last year, plus 8, 9.4%. Year before was 2.8, plus 10, 12.8%. That's when you apply for your delayed retirement credits. You get those after your full retirement age. So let's talk about spousal benefits now. So we talked about individual benefits. Let's talk about spousal benefits, and then a little survivor, and then some divorce also, maybe divorce and survivor. So PIA, like Dave's PIA, PIA stands for primary insurance amount. Dave's PIA is $2,400. Amy's insurance amount is $1,000. Both of them take. Dave takes his $2,400. Amy has the option. She can take her $1,000, or she can go in and she can take half of Dave's. Well, what's higher? Half of Dave's is $1,200. Amy's benefit's $1,000. No, $1,200 is higher than $1,000. She jumps up to Dave's. Okay, so Social Security looks at it. She gets $1,000 of her own benefit in a spousal top up of $200. Now, if Dave doesn't take, he wants to wait to 70 to take his, and she wants to take it 66. Nope. Then you can't take a spousal benefit unless the spouse is taking their benefit. Okay. Any questions on that? Good. We'll go to the next slide. How about divorce spouse benefits? Here's the triple play plus one. The marriage needed to have lasted at least 10 years or longer. The spouse that is receiving the divorce spouse benefit is currently unmarried. X has to be at least 62. And the plus one is the divorce has to be at least 2 years out. If all of those stars and moons line up, then both spouses can use each other, even though they're divorced, just as if they're still married to each other. Why is that important? Married couples have many more alternatives and choices than a single person. So it can be very, very important. Survivor benefit, my wife always says, Amy says, none of us are going to get out of here alive. That's something I can guarantee you. We're all going to die. When? I don't know, but we're going to sometime or the other. So Dave and Amy are married. Both are over the full retirement age. Dave's benefits $2,000, Amy's benefits $1,200. In my actual workshops, I always have a little fun with this. I say, who normally dies first, the guy or the gal in a marriage? Everybody says the guy. The guy normally dies first. You're right, 80% of the time. You know why that is? He elects to. I'm like Red Skelton. Some of you aren't old enough to know Red Skelton, but he always laughed at his own jokes. I have very few that are funny, so I think that is funny. The humor that I kind of do in workshops, it's not like being a comedian or a comic or a jokester. I'm not a humor. I just try to throw out a little bit of humor to keep it light because it's a heavy subject. So here's what happens is that with an individual benefit, it's done automatically. With the spousal benefit, you don't have to notify anybody. It's done automatically. With a divorce benefit, you have to notify Social Security to get it. With a survivor benefit, you have to notify Social Security if you don't get it. Okay? So here's what happened. Dave dies. It's $2,000. Amy can keep her benefit of $1,200 and jump up to Dave's $2,000. Well, it's a simple choice. She jumps up to Dave's $2,000. She has to notify the Social Security Administration. This is a good story, true story. This gal comes in after one of my first workshops I ever had about 11 years ago in Fremont for Social Security. And she says, Mr. Pimper, she's like 15 years older than me, calling me Mr. Pimper. Mr. Pimper, you said something that really concerns me. I said, what is that? She said, you said in the workshop that if you're married and one of the spouses dies, and if you're the other spouse and you have say a lower benefit, the spouse that dies has a higher benefit than you do, that you can drop your benefit and jump up to that higher deceased spouse's benefit. I said, that's exactly right. And she was very stern, and she says, well, I was told you couldn't. I said, well, who told you that? And she said, my brother. And I was laughing. I mean, I actually laughed. I said, well, and I say in the workshop, that's why you shouldn't believe for Social Security Administration, for Social Security advice, claiming advice, don't trust your brother, your mother, your priest, your pastor, your rabbi, your principal. No, trust someone who knows. And I know Social Security claiming. And then I might say here again, that's why so many people come in and mark yes and come in for the consultation. So you kind of get the feeling, that's kind of how I roll through this. Coordinating spousal benefits, Bipartisan Budget Act, restricted application. This gets complicated. First of all, you've got to be born before January the 2nd of 1954. The person claiming does. January the 2nd of 1954. So that puts you at 66 years and 6 months, basically, doesn't it? Yep. Almost 7 months. In this scenario, one of you have to be full retirement age, the person taking it, not both, but I kept it easy here with both of them. Dave's PIA, his amount is $2,400, and Amy's PIA amount is $1,000. Amy files for her benefit of 66. Dave wants to wait until 70, so he's still working and doesn't need the income coming in right now, and he can grow that guaranteed 8% a year plus COLA. Yeah. Well, what happens is normally, what would happen is that he would take his benefit. He would let his benefit grow, but Amy wouldn't be able to. She can't take part of his because it's in the mode of he hasn't started his yet. He's letting it go. He can only take half on a spousal benefit if he takes his. So it has with restricted application in the eyes of the government. He starts his benefit and then he stops it right away. But now Amy can go in, and if file and suspend would have been if she would have took his benefit, but restricted is as long as Amy has taken her $1,000, he can go in and take a spousal off of Amy's now. Yeah, just as if he's taking it, though he's not. He's letting it grow. So it's the best of both worlds. A loophole. They're closing it up, but it is a loophole. But he takes $500 a month from Amy's as a spousal benefit. And there's so many wheels that turn here. So then what happens is that he gets that extra $500 a month, $6,000 a year, as his is growing 8% a year. Yeah, cool. So if it's for 4 years, it'd be $24,000. It's free money. Free money. Then Dave turns 70. Now all of a sudden, now he doesn't have the spousal benefit that he's getting. That's let go. Now it opens up for Amy, the spouse, to go and take all of hers or half of his. Well, she gets a $200 top up because $1,200 is more than $1,000. All kinds of stuff going on with this scenario. There's so many rules, so many regulations, so complicated. Most people, if they just go in and say we want it now, fine. But they want to try to maximize it. No, it gets tougher. No doubt, it gets tougher. Type in if you have any questions. Are there considerations to claim early? Sure. You're not in good health. You need the money. DNA is not good. But being uninformed is not a reason. Or I say being ignorant. That's a little harsh, but that's something that you don't want to be. If you're working and you're under the age of full retirement age, yeah. If you make $18,240 or over, they're going to take at least half your money. If you make over about $47,000, $48,000, they'll take all your money. The weird thing is they give it back to you at full retirement age in a stipend, monthly stipend for the rest of your life. But they take it out, somewhere within 4 to 6 years, and then they pay it back out to you over 25, 30 years. And that's not taxation. That's just an earnings test. Are there do-overs? You always hear once you do it, you're done. No, there are do-overs. If you go in and claim Social Security and you said, you know what, I heard Dave Pimper now and I decided I don't want to do it. One time you can go in and do it over, as long as it's within 12 months, as long as it's within a year, you can do it over again. How about you go in and say you're working for a firm and they lay you off at age 62. At 64, they want you to come back on with a much bigger salary. Can you go back on and stop your Social Security benefit? No. You can stop your Social Security benefit till full retirement age. That's pretty cool. So once you turn, say, 66, if you're running from 43 to 54, absolutely, then you can go in and you can earn your delayed retirement credits of 8%. I will tell you, if you don't think this is complicated, you're wrong, because it is. But I teach it kind of in a simplistic way so you really understand. There's a book that I call it the Bible, the absolute Bible of Social Security, and you buy that. It's like $20. I mean, I've read probably 20 plus books on Social Security claiming. It's by far the best book that's out there. And then a 6-month retroactive benefit. You get that if your full retirement age are over. Like the gal that said she heard that from her brother about the survivor claim. Yeah. Long as your full retirement age are over, yeah, you can go on in and request 6 months worth of retro benefits, which is kind of a do-over. I have 5 myths, but we're just going to go through three of them. Since muni bond income is taxed with Social Security and the provisional income, it only makes sense that tax-free Roth IRA distributions are also. That's wrong. Tax-free Roth contribution with withdrawals and liquidations income, nope, not taxed at all. There is taxation if you earn enough. Are there ways to go in and eliminate your taxation? There is. By deferral of investments. Can't use tax-free because it's considered in the provisional income, but deferral or using Roth or Roth conversions, we're really high on Roth conversions right now. Different brackets, like married filing jointly. If you see, provisional income is your adjusted gross income, counting no Social Security, half of your Social Security benefit, all of your muni bond interest. Add that all up. If it's under $32,000, you don't pay any taxation on your Social Security benefit. 32 to 44, 50% of your Social Security is taxed, and over 44, 85% of your Social Security is taxed. And there's ways you can reduce Social Security. Like I said, deferrals. You go on in and careful when you take your RMD conversion from traditional to Roth. Yeah. The Social Security myth number 5, the Social Security Administration will give you the best advice on how to maximize your benefit. Well, that's wrong, Sherlock. Here's what the Social Security personnel can and cannot do. They can tell you the largest amount you're entitled to now. They can't scenario plan, like restricted application. They cannot give you advice. I was so excited when I found this on the internet, which you can find about anything. I go into the POMS manual from time to time. That's their manual, Programs Operational Systems, manual systems. But number D, provide enough information so that claimants, that means me and you, can make informed choices, but do not give advice. It's illegal to give advice. And I talk about consider all your income streams before you claim Social Security. Yeah. Social Security is not a standalone income stream. It's one of the 5 income streams we'll talk about next slide. I believe it's the most flexible of all income streams. Not claiming at the right time, but claiming at your right time. And I always say, don't forget from a break-even standpoint, the survivor's benefit, because it makes a big difference. My mom, she's 90, gonna be 97 next month. She's taking my dad's benefit, jumped up to it 15 years ago. Yeah, when he was 82. Here's the 5 pillars of income. And I do this as a worksheet when we actually meet with the people. But we have working wages, full and part-time pensions, income-producing assets, RMDs, and Social Security. Social Security is by far the most flexible of all of those. The money maker of those for us, though, and how do you help the client is number 3. Talking about their 401k or their 403b or their SEP Simple, their IRA, their Roth IRA, yeah, brokerage account, CDs. You have a look, and a lot of times people will take my sales process also. And I use this. I mean, this is just a great fact finding slide to find money. Okay. So as we're finishing up, I know you might have some. I always say you might have some questions, like when's the best time to claim, or what will my benefit be? You know, where do I go from here? I don't always go through every single bullet point. I don't need to do that. They can read. Where do I go from here? So, do you want to know about your benefit? How about spousal? You know, on survivor and divorce, if you don't ask for those benefits, you can't get them. I bet you didn't know that. They're not automatic. Yeah. There's a lot to consider for your best claiming decision. And then my last 3 slides are all work around procrastination. I mean, no one likes to be called a procrastinator. It's not positive language. And I'll say I've been in this business for almost 40 years. I started in 1981. And I don't think that I've ever had anybody come to me and say, Dave, you cannot believe of how much money I've made from procrastinating. I've gotten rich off of procrastinating. No. There's a little saying that says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Now, you know what? Tomorrow never comes. It never comes. People who take action are normally the most successful people. Nike Shoe Company out on the West Coast, which is in Oregon, which is absolutely the most profitable shoe company in the world. What do you think their slogan is? You're right. Just do it. Just do it. Take action. That's how the successful people are the ones who take action. Then we go in, and there's a way that I get all the sheets out, and this is the consultation sheet. I tell them that we've marked off time the next 2 weeks on our calendar. There's going to be lots of people signing up. So we have morning times, mid-afternoon times, and late afternoons, early evening times. Please mark that if you want a consultation. It's an hour. I promise you, our goal is to teach you everything we can about Social Security. Time out. I don't mention a thing about product here. I mean, we don't. We're just Social Security. That's why they're coming in. We'll pick those up at the door as you leave tonight. And just to kind of leave on the last slide, everybody knows who George Foreman is, right? Yeah, Big George, boxing champ of the world, beat Michael Moore when he was 45 years old and held the heavyweight title for 3 years until he's 48 years old. Oldest heavyweight ever for a champion. But where George Foreman made the majority of his net worth? It wasn't from boxing. Nope, it was from the grill. You're exactly right. The grill. Go look it up. I mean, he made $136.5 million in cash and a little bit of stock options just to use his name 22 years ago. Pretty good deal for Big George. So I'm going to leave you with this tonight, folks. Unless you have your name on a grill, you need to mark yes on that consultation sheet and come in and see me. That presentation, I put that presentation together. It's a good one. I mean, I'm not patting myself on the back, but it is a good one, and it can certainly work for you. So, Steve, I'd like to put up the poll question now, if you got it. And it's going to say, yes, I want a consultation with Dave Pimper, or no, I don't. And if you want a consultation, it's going to be about probably 25 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. And what will happen on that is that we're just going to talk about your marketing. We're going to talk about what you're doing now, what you did before the pandemic, what you did during the pandemic. And, one of the things is, face-to-face seminars have certainly slowed down. I mean, I haven't done them, since the pandemic hit. We're going to start here in the next month or two. But radio, I have a radio host program called Retirement Boss Radio, also marketed through IAMS. And it's pretty hot right now. I'm telling you what, I get this. 2 weeks ago, I got 4 appointments. Last week, I got 3 appointments. I mean, it's very, very strong. If you'd like to, and it is a much more expensive than the cost of a seminar, per month to be on on the airways for an hour every weekend. I'll tell you that's another thing that if you want some information on, you need to mark yes. So, Steve, if you're there, let's please, yeah, there you go, buddy. Thank you. So there it is. We were a little delayed on that, but we got it up now. So, would you like more information on Social Security coaching seminars? And I'll say, I'll put a kind of a and or on there, and or be a retirement boss radio host on a local radio station. Um, I'll tell you right now, radio's got to be one of the greatest social distancing marketing there is. I mean, you have no problems there. You can do it by Zoom or telephone or face to face. We do a lot of face to face appointments still. But if you mark yes there, we'll talk. Just kind of see what's going on. This is not a hard sell, believe me. This is coaching you, trying to help you get in front of more people. I'll say one last thing before I turn it over to Steve, because I know that we're running out of time here, and there might be a couple questions. But in interviews, sometimes I'll ask, are you do you think that you're a smarter worker or a harder worker? Hold on. And that's a quandary for most people. Oh my gosh, what does he want to hear? Well, I say, here's another quandary. You can sell. What's more important for you, to be better in the sales process or to get in front of more people? Well, unequivocally. Steve, is that a word? Is that a word?
Very close. That's very close to being a word.
Can you say that word? What I meant. Yeah, there it is. Thank you. I mumbled it. Yeah, that's the difference between public and private school, right there. But what happens is that I can tell you without any doubt whatsoever, you can be the greatest closer and have the greatest presentation in the world and not get in front of anybody. Yeah, you're just like you started. People who see a lot of people and get in front of a lot of appointments, yeah, you know what? You're going to do much better, much better on your psyche. That's what marketing does. Sales closes once you're in front. Marketing gets the person there. There's a huge difference between sales and marketing. You need them both, but you need marketing to get prospects, to get appointments first. That's where hopefully Dave Pepper can give you some insight when we meet by phone. So if you mark yes, we'll certainly talk here within the next week. Either it'll probably be Nicole, maybe Lisa might call also. And if you mark yes, yeah, absolutely take their call when they call. Let's don't have to call 2 or 3 times. Take their call. We'll get together on the phone, and I think it'll be hopefully a profitable 20 minutes for you. Steve, I'll turn it on over to you as we're closing out and see if there's any last comments that we need to make.
Dave, I'm looking at the folks that have, and I know we are getting close to the end of our webinar, so I'm looking at the folks that are asking to have calls, and it looks like they also are generally speaking to folks that have questions. So I know you're going to be able to answer some of those along the way when you're chatting with them one-on-one, but there's 2 or 3 of them that are, because you talked about radio at the end, and so you better at least give them some idea of what cost might be for radio, because that you've drummed up some curiosity there.
Right. Well, I will tell you what happens with radio. It's an hour show. It's recorded or pre-recorded. It's recorded, not live. You can record right from your office or your home or from your car, your motel room if you're on the road. I mean, it's very flexible. We give you show notes to be your guide from. You have a co-host, a complete production team. There's a radio buyer that's one of the best out there, has over 400 purchase shows on the radio every single week, knows almost every market that's above 100,000. Call center, that's live. Shows recorded, but when they call in, and the whole goal of the call center is set the appointments. It's never to mail information out. We don't mail information out. We set appointments by Zoom, by phone, or face to face. Depends on, Nebraska is in a shelter-in-place state, and we haven't been hit as hard as some, so we certainly are still seeing people. And then myself, I've been in the radio for like 27, 28 years. I had a live show, Your Money Matters, for 11 years. Did a Paul Harvey in the news commentary with a ending market report for 15 years, and then 2 years now we're Retirement Boss Radio. We've had very good success. Very surprising too. Really, the cost. I mean, probably gonna run in the same kind of neighborhood that a dinner seminar is going to run. I mean, when you get on the radio for an hour every week. Hopefully, like I just placed one that was a big Rush Limbaugh station down in the southeast. So I'll tell you right now, there's many ways to market. Seminars is one, which is getting back into gear right now for August and September seminars. And I mean, you can sit on the sidelines forever, and that's exactly where you'll end up, is on the sidelines. Everybody wants to get in the game. Let's get you in the game. Let's get you a lot of people in front of you, kind of get a lot of appointments. I mean, it's better for the psyche, it's better for your pocketbook, and if you're married, it makes your wife or your husband a much happier camper, I guarantee you.
It feels like you're speaking from experience there. So,
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, there's no doubt that I don't know over the last 2 or 3 months whether we would have had the most efficient use of your marketing dollars and your ways, the money that you spend normally to get in front of people. But I think we are coming out of that now to a point where we can be pretty efficient with your marketing dollars. So whether you want to do face-to-face seminars, I think that's going to be possible in most places to do it and do it profitably, or whether you want to do radio. Dave talked a little bit about the cost. So it's not the cost of a seminar per week, it's the cost of a seminar per month. So you're probably looking at spending maybe anywhere between $2,500 to $4,000, depending on your market and depending on what the advertising costs. Most of that is the cost of the radio time. So it could be done very equitably. So there's a lot of great ways to get in front of people, and these are things that you could all talk with Dave about when you meet with him one-on-one. You will get something valuable from your 15-minute conversation with Dave for sure. I've never had anybody come away from that conversation without a nugget or two that they could use in their business. And whether you decide to do radio or decide to do seminars, or maybe just want to get trained up on Social Security for your business purposes, there's a lot of good reasons to do that. And part of our deal here at IAMS is we want to make that as easy as we can. We think to be successful in new areas, if you can do that with coaching and have a good coach, you should definitely take advantage of that. So we're going to make that as easy and as inexpensive as possible. And frankly, we're going to take care of most of the costs, if not all the costs, where we can. So it's a way that grows your business, and it's a service that we can offer that brings producers to us. So hopefully you'll take advantage of it. That being said, most of you have answered that poll. Thank you for that. A few of you that haven't, I know that it looks like we may have had some things that some folks are limited from being able to answer the polls. I'm not sure why that is, but based on a couple comments that I see here. So call in if you want to speak with Dave, and we'll get that arranged. Or if you have any other questions about things that we talked to you about here today, give us a call. Let's chat through it and make sure we can help you. Thank you for joining us today. We think it's really, really important to keep growing your knowledge base and learning more every day, and we're going to facilitate that every way that we can here at IAMS. We're going to find ways to make that happen for you, and webinars are part of it. Our trainings and face-to-face at the academies, we can do that. That's a big part of it. Just what we do on a daily basis, a big part of what we do to help make sure that you're prepared to speak with clients, but also we need to help you get in front of clients, and that's what this meeting really was about today. So let us help you get in front of more clients. Give us a call here at the office. We are anybody that takes time out of their day on a Tuesday morning to join us to learn more. It's definitely somebody that we're biased towards helping in any way that we can. So let us know that you're on a webinar, you learned this or that, want more information on this or that, and we'll get it to you. And we're gonna do everything. We're gonna go the extra mile to help you out. Thank you for joining us here today, Dave. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I know we're right up against your next appointment time, so why don't you say goodbye to the troops, and we'll get you out of here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, time is money. You took time out today, you took an hour of your time. Let me try to go in and give you some insight to how to get in front of more people. So looking forward to talking to a lot of you here in the near future.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a great finish to your sales week, and call us at 800-255-5055 if there's anything that we can do to help you. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.